once you do enough plays, or you attempt to write enough plays, you're trying to figure out what, because there have been a lot of plays that I've tried to make, a lot of things that I've written and tried to make them to be plays, and they're just not when I'm looking at them, or if somebody reads them and says, you know, this should be a short story, or it's a process that is still, it's still a mystery to me, as corny as that sounds. You know, people always ask me that, you know, is this nonfiction or fiction? I'm like, well, it kind of happened, you know, I think that anything that I've ever written has to start some personal reaction to something, and then it turns into something else. Otherwise, for me, it would be kind of boring, you know, if I just wrote, for me anyway. I like to be able to I think that's why I keep doing it, was because there's always this sense of discovery, of finding which way, you know, what can you, there's just so many different directions you can go, and you never know which way you're going to go until you just take that leap. The thing that got me writing in the first place was that that I had something very tragic happen to my family when I was 19, and you know, to make a long story short, my dad was killed in a truck accident when I was 19. A drunk driver had crossed the center line, killed him, and I have a brother. And the first play that I wrote was about that, you know, dealing with that. It was two brothers, you know, going head to head, and you know, so my first experience with having, you know, my mom and my brother come in and see this thing was very nerve-wracking. So I think that was the first, but I always did it in a respectful way. As a writer, if I'm going to call myself a writer, I have to keep my senses open to conversations that I hear on the bus, or you know, whether I'm sitting in a restaurant or I'm talking to my best friend, or whatever it is that, you know, it's just part of, I'm not looking for it. It's like, you know, if you've ever lost your keys, and when you actually find them is when you've stopped looking for them, you know. And the idea came, you know, when I decided, because I didn't send the material for this book to anybody. I just thought, well, I'm going to do this on my own. I can do this. I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer anyway. I'd just rather do it myself, and instead of waiting on, you know, well, either waiting on somebody to be interested in it, or to get all the rejection letters and all this stuff. And I thought, you know, people have done this before, I could do it. I don't like to psychoanalyze it that much. I like to just, you know, if I'm writing it, then I'll trust that I have something that I'm trying to say, and then just figure out what the hell that is.